Hey everybody, I'm Frank Padgett and I'm 57 years old.
And I'm Ashley Padgett, and I'm 31.
And we've created this series called Conversations with My Daughter. This is a space where a father, that's me, and my daughter,
That's me.
we sit down and we talk about real life as it really happens.
We talk about faith, family, relationships, failures, successes, legacy, and everything in between.
No scripts, no pretending, just real conversations.
So, whether you're navigating your own timeline, figuring out your relationships, or just learning through setbacks, we hope we add something of value to you.
All right, let's get into it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of Conversations with My Daughter. I am Daughter.
And I'm Dad.
So last week we talked about when life doesn't match the timeline you had in mind, and it was a very good conversation.
Yes.
This week we'll be talking about what healthy relationships actually feel like.
Yes.
So, Father,
Oh my goodness.
what were we talking about before we cut the cameras on?
Actually, just that. I mean, there's a lot of talk now, especially online, about this whole relationship thing. And this isn't a new conversation, but it's something that's become, I think, ramped up in the past few years. What does a healthy relationship look like? What are people looking for? Um, and, there's some people that are saying some things that, carry a lot of weight. For example, you have, as far as men are concerned, you got a group of men, they call them the red pill guys, in that community there, and they're talking about, well, we want more of a traditional woman. Some of those guys are traveling to other countries because they say, well, we can't find it here in the States. Well, I mean, you can find it, if you're looking in the right places, but if you're looking, in the places where just very hard to find, it's going to be very hard to find. But, so, and then you have women, they want, in the stage of a lot of women who want good relationships. A lot of women, I think most women want good relationships. A lot of women, and I'm not saying this in a negative way, they want to be able to do the things that they want to do.
Yeah.
Now, there are consequences that come along with everything, good or bad.
Yeah.
So I think, it's just, it's a very interesting topic, of a topic that will not go away. But we'll dive more into that as we have this discussion.
All right, so let's talk about boundaries.
Oh my goodness. I think, one of the things about boundaries, and as I've said to you before, boundaries is one of those things that everybody has to have in their relationship.
Right.
You need to set those things up in advance, and when I say in advance, you need to let we're talking about adults. We're not talking about children here.
Right.
We're talking about adults who are pursuing relationships hopefully for the purpose of something that is committed, something that can lead to marriage. And when that is the case, you want people to know up front what your boundaries are. And you want to establish those boundaries, because if you do not, then what happens is people, they just assume certain things.
Right.
They may be used to, a woman may have a particular boundaries. And she may say, well, I don't want to say this and I don't want to say that because I don't want to drive him away.
Right.
Well, it's best for him to know up front so that he's not making assumptions. And it's best for him to let her know up front so that she's not making assumptions.
Right.
We're all adults here. So this is just a part of that adult conversation that needs to be had, that people need to get comfortable with. It's just like, listen, if I'm going to pursue a relationship and I want it to lead to something that's more committed, more meaningful, these are the conversations that you need to have.
So what were some boundaries that you had with mom before you guys, even before you started dating?
Good question. Good question. Well, as I've shared with you before, I am a person who, I have a strong belief in God, and faith is something that's important to me. That's how I live my life. I don't believe in being overbearing pushing my beliefs on other people. But at the same time, I want to, with her, or with it happened to turn out to be her, anybody who wanted to, that I was going to approach, I needed to know that we were similarly or equally yoked in that particular area.
Yeah.
So because I wasn't just looking to just have a girlfriend. I was looking to, hey, I want to have a family. In my family, and I wanted the right partner to be able to raise a family that we could be proud of, and we can be pleased with, and more importantly, that God can be pleased with, So that was my approach. So that's one thing, that we were equally yoked regarding our faith. And I think too many times people have a tendency to compromise that. They say, well, that's not that big of a deal. It is a big deal.
Yeah.
It is a big deal. I do think that this particular person of this religion and this particular of that religion, that people can coexist. There will be some conflict as a result, because it's like, how do you raise your children? What do it's like, and then the kid, and then it can bring about some confusion amongst the kids and stuff. So if both people are on the same page and believe in the same thing, then I think, it works a bit better. You reduce some of the friction that exists in any relationship anyway. So, so that was the one thing, the faith thing. The other thing, there was just certain things. If somebody was not healthy, I considered myself to be healthy when I met your mother, but then I realized, I was like, man, the stuff I learned from her, I thought she was a little crazy at first, or maybe even weird. It's like, what? Because there were certain things that she was just used to that I didn't even know about. So I couldn't be used to it. I didn't know about it. I'll give an example. Like right now, you know how we live our lives, how we eat. We try to be very healthy. We're very cognizant of what we put into our bodies. The least amount of chemicals as possible. One food ingredients as much as possible. But back in the day, years ago, I remember we were at a restaurant, and it was cheap restaurant. I mean, that's all we could afford at that time. We hung out, and we were eating, and she goes, I can taste the chemicals in the food. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I'm looking at her like, what? I had never heard of anything like that. Well, come to find out, she was far advanced. She was far more advanced than me in that particular area, because there are a lot of chemicals that they put in foods and stuff. And if you don't know, you don't know. I didn't know. And so I just thought health was like just going to the gym and watching what you eat. But even though I was still eating fast food at the time, but that's
fast
changed.
Food is not it. So I will interject and say this: fast food in moderation is good. Not too much fast food in moderation, but maybe a little donut here, a little bit of fries there, in moderation.
Yeah, I mean,
because I do like chips and donuts and cookies and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, I am a sucker. I have a sweet tooth, so I have to be careful there. But I try not to just go to fast food restaurants. I like eating at home, or we have certain places that we go when we go out. But other than that, so things like that. So those two things were probably, well, and the other thing too. So here's another one. Before we got married, when we were dating, I knew that I wanted to have kids. I knew how many kids I wanted to have. And we didn't have as many kids as I wanted to have, but I picked out the names. She didn't do it. I did it before we were married. I said, my daughter's name is going to be this. My son's name is going to be that. And she was like, okay. We kind of like went back and forth on your brother's name and stuff. But then she agreed. She was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I like the nickname we call him. She goes, I like that. So anyway, so those things there, because what was important to me was I not only wanted to get married, I wanted to be able to raise a family and produce a legacy, because that matters to me. That matters to me. Uh, so those three things there, I think, were the most important things. Because if I wanted to have a family, because I was in the beginning, I was like, I'd like to have about 5 kids. I like kids. That didn't work out like that, but and I'm grateful for the two of you guys. But I just, with 5 kids, I mean, that's what I wanted. But that wasn't God's will, and that's fine. I'm perfectly fine with that. But so. But if she was a person who's like, nah, I don't want that, I would have compromised on the number of kids. That wasn't a problem. But if she was like, I don't want any kids, then nah, that would have been that would have been a sort of a boundary that I've set, and it's a deal breaker. That's sort of like, I was like, nah, we can't do this. Let me find somebody else.
I like that. I like that you said that. So, okay, so we were supposed to talk about this a little later, but you brought up deal breakers. So let's talk about some deal breakers.
Okay, so the one thing that I said, deal breakers would have been not wanting to have kids. All right, deal breakers would have been, for me, of course, I mean, I've never been into smoking, and it's just never been my thing. Drinking has never been my thing. People do it, but it is what it is. But it's never been my thing.
Yeah.
Not necessarily would have. Probably it would have been a deal breaker for me. But anybody who does it, I mean, that's their thing. That's their thing. So I think those two, just some people are just not respectful.
Yeah.
I think some men don't know how to treat women, and some women don't know how to treat men.
Yeah.
And what men and women look for are totally different. So I know we live in an age of where we use this word equality, but we use it kind of loosely.
Yeah.
So everybody needs to be equal. Nah, everybody don't need to be equal.
Yeah.
And I don't say that as demeaning to women. I'm just like, if we really talk about that, and you asked me about deal breakers. I don't even want to jump into that, but I will say this. If we're going to talk about equality, there's a reason why a man, for the most part, is stronger than a woman. But in many cases, there's a reason why women are built the way that they are. You all can do things that we can't do. So you all are, in a sense, stronger than us in certain areas.
Yeah.
We're stronger than you in certain areas. You guys are stronger than us in certain areas. Listen, I ain't trying to bear no kids. Y'all can have that one. I'm grateful that y'all do it, but nah, I ain't trying to do that.
Yeah, there's this trend going around now for women, and they either get their boyfriends or their husbands to do a pregnancy simulator, and
I've seen that.
Is hilarious.
I've seen that. I've seen it, but I don't think that really captures what a woman goes through.
Oh, it doesn't.
Throughout the whole pregnancy.
It doesn't.
So I think as far as pain, okay, but I think from a macro standpoint, just looking at an entire pregnancy, the things that I saw, I ain't trying. You had it. Nah, you listen. I am, and the funny thing is, I have this appreciation for like pregnant women. I was like, man, that's just, when I see one, I'm just like, wow, she doing a hard job.
Yeah.
I mean, I looked at with your mother and all the things that she went through, just the bed rest on both pregnancies, and it was just like, what? I mean, I can't even relate to that. I can't relate to that. So there's a reason why, there's a difference between us. But anyway, I sort of went off on this tangent, so I apologize for
It's
that.
okay.
So
It's
okay,
okay.
but anyway, but your question to me was about deal breakers, right?
Yes.
So the kid thing, um, and just we're not equally aligned as far as like goals and visions.
Mm.
Now, your mother will know. I mean, we got married. I had just turned 23, just turned 23, and your mother had just turned. She was about to turn 21 later that month. Um, so that's almost this June 1st will be 35 years.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like it. I mean, the time has flown by.
Yeah.
Um, but at that time, before we got married, her and I would sit and talk about our future, what we thought would look like, what we thought God was, had purposed and planned for our lives, and I had a plan, and that's one of the things too. Um, if she's a person that's just like they can't get in alignment with the plan that I have, and she had a plan too. So we were able to marry those things together.
Right.
The plan that I had, she was willing to support that. Her dreams, her visions and stuff, I was more than willing to support that. So I think that if two people don't have that, and I've heard a lot of people say, especially a lot of women say, he need to have a plan at least or something. And that leads into another subject matter that we'll talk about a little bit later, but just about where that comes from.
Mm-hmm.
But I know my parents were like, you need to do something. Everybody, my father was like big into, a man has to lead his household. So when I was growing up, I mean, I saw the things that my father did, the sacrifices that he made, the sacrifices that my mother made, and they were unified on the plan that they came up with to raise the three of us, their three kids. So, and I had great respect for that. So I knew that when it was my time, I had a plan. I was like, okay, by this time I wanted to hear, by this time I wanted to hear. Usually your plan doesn't work out like you think it's gonna work out anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, and that goes into the episode we did last week.
Yeah.
But it's just like one of those things. You should have something, and it has to have some flexibility in it as well, because again, God, your plan can be aligned with God's will, but the way you think that it rolls out doesn't necessarily happen that way. So I can almost guarantee that.
So I read this thing on social media. I think it was either yesterday or no, I think it was yesterday. It was the differences between dating and courting.
Okay.
And honestly, I thought that not that they were the same thing, but that you start dating to move into courting. But apparently, based on the stuff that I've read, it doesn't really work like that. It's like you either go into dating knowing that you don't really want like a long-term thing, or you go into courting knowing that you want a long-term thing. So I was kind of confused because I kind of see it as like you can't really have one without the other.
That's a very good question, and I'm gonna tell you. Okay, so I'll say it like this, and there's not really one answer, and I'll tell you why. Depending upon what society you come from, what ethnic group you come from, what religious belief you practice, it differs. It differs. So, for example, you have a lot of people in the world today that still believe in arranged marriages. Right. So in arranged marriage, there is no dating. It's just like, hey, Joe, I got a daughter over here, Josephine, and our families have been knowing each other for years, and I want you to marry my daughter. Well, that's an arranged marriage.
Yeah.
They're not dating. They might not even like each other.
Yeah.
But they come and they spend a little bit of time together, and In some instances, in some societies, uh, they never spend any time alone. It's just, they go, the man comes over or whatever. Even if they go out to dinner or whatever, go take a walk. You got family members walking behind them.
Mm.
Because it's just like, okay, this is specifically for y'all to get to know each other because y'all getting married. You know, here in the West, a little different. Um, I'm not against dating, but I think that dating needs to have an intended purpose.
Mm.
So some people take the mindset of, uh, well, I need to know what I like. You know, Men say that, women say that too, but men are like, well, a lot of men, not all. I need to date different people so I'll know what I like. You already know what you like.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
already, and here's why I say that. All of us, for the most part, will end up marrying, for men, will end up marrying a woman that has had the greatest influence in our lives.
Mm.
Because that's the model, regardless of how good it was or how bad it was. That's typically the model that we become attracted to unknowingly. So we kind of know what we like. And then if somebody comes along and they don't necessarily fit that model, it's just like, yeah, I like you, but it's just something there. We can't necessarily articulate what that something is.
Yeah.
If a person grew up in a house and full of drama all the time, I mean, all the time,
Yeah.
when they meet somebody that's like calm and measured and, exercises temperance and meekness, it's just like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
It's like, because they're used to the back and forth, the tension and all that other stuff. So that person, not that they can't marry that person, but it becomes a bit of a challenge and it's actually a good challenge because it gives them the ability to overcome some of the things that they had become used to, that had become a part of their learned behavior. So I think that dating needs to have a purpose. Just going out and, for men, going to seeing how many women you could, meet and all this other stuff and sleep with and stuff. I mean, that's kind of like, that brings about its own another set of whole problems that we don't like to talk about.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of negative issues with that because you have a lot of soul ties that are created. You have a lot of hurt feelings, and then if people do it too much, it affects like pair bonding down the road when they're like, oh, I want to be serious now. It becomes harder for men to pair bond with a woman, and it becomes harder for a woman to pair bond with a man because she's like just dated so much, and it's just like, sort of looking and seeking, and it just causes it can cause serious problems. So with the person she settles down with, if this guy isn't as exciting as that guy, and that guy in a lot of cases is always being compared to these other exciting experiences that she had, and this guy could just be a stable, good dude. So, but that stable, good dude could be looked at as being, oh, you're just boring. So as far as courting is concerned, so in my opinion, let me make sure I answer your question. So in my opinion, I think that that as you date, it should be with the intention of, I'm looking for a wife. I don't believe in this perpetual dating and there's no end to it, because I'm a person that believes in legacy. And I think most men want to leave a legacy behind. None of us are going to live forever. We want our name to continue on. And if you're just out here just dating with no intended purpose in mind, and even if you're producing children, those children become your legacy. But you have but in many cases, not all cases, in many cases, you have such a loose connection to those children because you didn't bond with the one who gave you the children, and y'all didn't build together. So dating should be a precursor, in my opinion, to courting, and then courting to marriage. But this dating, oh, we were dating for 10 years. You know, we've been engaged for 10 years. Let me just let y'all know something. I'm gonna let you know something too. If a dude is dating you for 10 years, if he dating you for 5 years, if he dating you for 3 years, he dating you for 3 years, he ain't marrying you. More than likely, he's not marrying you. Because it does not take a man 3 years to figure out, is this the one? Oh, we know very quickly. We know very quickly. We know in a couple months. And sometimes it'll take a couple months. So we might know right away, but we're going to spend some time like, am I right? Or am I just like, we'll take some time, a year, 2 years, just to make sure, yeah, I'm right about this. And we'll pull the trigger. But 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, I saw some lady was dating this guy for 20-something years.
Yeah, they
20-something years. They never got married. The guy died. I think it was like 27 years, the guy dies. She goes to the hospital to try to get information on him. They're, living together and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
They treat her like a second-class citizen because he never committed to her.
Yeah.
So the hospital, they're not giving out any of his information, because in their mind, if he hasn't committed to you, then we can't share. I don't care how long y'all been living together. I don't care how many kids y'all got. We cannot share his information with you. Now his children, they can. But, and I felt bad for the lady. I was like, man, that's kind of, 20 plus years. Oof.
Yeah, but for some relationships, it's the women who don't want to get married.
True. And I think that, we live in a world where, as you and I've talked about before, making money and taking advantage of opportunity, that's good. I think that the playing field hasn't been totally leveled, but it's been leveled enough for where over the last, say, 40 years, women have had the opportunity to really earn as much as they want to earn in a lot of cases. Now, I mean, there are still some pay disparities and stuff like that, but depending upon how you look at that, are those disparities really as big as people say they are? Because women, they do have children, and so if you're having children, you don't work as much as a man and stuff like. I mean, because you can't. Right. So it is what it is. But and that's no shade on any woman. I mean, we need women having children. We need women raising children. But over the past 40 years, you've had women who've had the ability to earn just as much as a man or more. So this whole notion of, like, back in the day, my grandparents, my father's mother, my grandmother, she was born in 1917. My grandfather, his father, I think was born in 1906 or 1907. So he was like 10 years older than her. And in that generation, there was very little opportunity for women. Yeah. And they were definitely, so it's a very little opportunity for women and men. And in the South, oh, come on. Come on. So when people got together, a man might see a woman and just like, hey, I like her, and of course it is innate within us as men to be able to create a legacy, find a woman, create a legacy with her, raise these children, hopefully they can be productive citizens, and establish our family name, or continue our family name, I'll say it like that. But one of the things is that, so over the last 40 years, so when they got married back then, it wasn't just solely out of Disney love. It's out of, hey, I need a wife. You need a husband. I'm going to provide and protect you. You're going to provide children to me, and we're going to build something together, whatever, however small it is. We're going to commit to each other. We're going to build something together. And that's what a lot of people did. So the marriages wasn't always like, and a lot of times women, they didn't work, because they were homemakers. And so, and at that time too, you only needed one salary really to really raise a family. You got a bunch of kids to raise a family on one salary.
Yeah.
Not today. It's very difficult to do today.
Yeah.
But my point is, so in the last 40 years, a lot of opportunities have opened for women where they can go out and out earn men. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. So some of them have taken the mindset, I don't want no kids. Because essentially that will interrupt my earning potential.
Right.
That will cause me to focus on, I got to focus on these kids, and I really want to focus on my career. I get that, but the danger in that, and this is the one thing I always think about. Hopefully God blesses us all with long life. And as we grow in age, we have a family, our children are older. Right now I have 2 grandkids. I want to see them grow up. Hopefully you get married, I have more kids. I have more grandkids. I want to see them grow up. But as a woman who grows up, who grows older, that family network is very important. I heard a guy talking about his grandmother, and he said, and he came from a big family. He said his grandmother was 93, and he had a big birthday celebration for her.
Mm-hmm.
He said at 93 years old, his grandmother was still in relatively good health. And he was just saying that, he said nobody in the room would say, hey, grandma. Or he wasn't saying, hey, grandma, or great grandma, what was that career that you had? He said it was 90 people. The woman was 90 years old. There was 90 people because the grandfather had died. It was 90 people in the room that came out of her and her husband. They produced so many kids, and then their grandkids, and then great grandkids. 90 people. That's legacy. That's a support system that we should all desire.
Yeah.
Not just like, because no one cares what type of career you had. No one cares, I had a 6-figure income for so long. Who cares?
Yeah.
That's not important. Yeah, you want to live good and live nice, and we've been blessed, but at the end of the day, nobody cares about that. People want a parent that's present. So I encourage women, and I encourage you, if you have the opportunity to get married, I think you need to do that. Build with somebody, find somebody you can build with, or that person will find you. You'll be found.
Yeah.
Open yourself up to be found. I say it like that. And be willing to build with somebody. And the beauty of just having all of those people that come from you, I don't think too many things can beat that. So,
okay. All right, guys. Well, this is the end of part 1. We will be doing a part 2 because we have a lot more to talk about.
Oh my goodness.
So again, I am Daughter.
And I'm Dad. I'm Frank.
I'm Ashley, and thank you for watching Conversations with My Daughter. Tune in next week where we will be having part 2.
Part 2.
And
what are we going to talk about next week? Because I want to give them some insight.
We will be talking more about peace versus intensity. We'll be talking about the phrase, if he wanted to, he would.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And then we'll also be talking about if chivalry is really dead.
Right.
Among other things.
That's good.
So, thank you for watching, and God bless.
God bless y'all. Thank you.